first thing that I'd like to discuss is, finding events that, you would want to go to. So in real estate, whether you are going to a an event that is hosted by a real estate organization, there are those events, but then there's also just regular events that are happening that you just are meeting people, just general, you're in touch with the public. Because a lot of times somebody out there in the public, that these people, buy or rent. Everybody's either buying, they own, they rent, they're buying, they're selling, or they know
Yep.
somebody who is. And so everyone you meet, it might not be that person per se that is going to lead to them having the transaction with you, but they might know somebody, because everybody knows a certain number of people, and then those people know a bunch of people. So if you can get to events, and there's a lot of times where people say, well, I don't want to go to networking events. It doesn't have to be a networking event. It can just be something that you enjoy already. So, or there's something that you're going to. So if you're, I know you have children and they have events. So you were going to, T-ball and stuff like that. So there could be, how am I going to engage with these other parents that showed up here? And, or it could be an event like, say, you go to a NASCAR race or something, I don't know. And
Sure.
you're like, I'm going to talk to some people here. Or you're at the ballet, you're going to talk to some people there. And so whatever you enjoy, so it doesn't always have to be a direct business link to that event, but it could just be an event that you just find fascinating. I always use the example of like beekeepers conventions or something. Just, and I'm not
Sure.
a beekeeper, but what type of people would be there? What type of people would be there? Yeah. Anyway, so you go there and you'd meet these people and you'd learn about bees and honey. But then, eventually, if you can actually develop these real relationships, then that's gonna it's still gonna move you forward. But finding these things, you're going to want to uh, make a list of just events that you like to attend, and uh, it could help. I talk about high-end events. I specialize in a lot of high-end events, but it doesn't always have to be that. If you are not comfortable with that, you don't have to go to high-end events. But if that's something that you're into, then how would you get invited to things like that? Well, uh,
Yep.
the the tip that I tell people is to spam yourself, and by that it's kind of like a SEO for yourself. What I do is you get on lists. So, for example, Ritz Carlton and Cartier and Rolls Royce. You can go to the website and you can put in for more information about this product.
Sure.
Put in your name and your email or mailing address, and you just get on these lists and they start. Sure, you can set up a separate email so it's not clogging up your regular email, but they're going to send you a lot of information. And then if there's an event, then you're going to find out about it because they're going to let you know. And eventually they'll have, I know, like, they might have a Cartier exhibit or something like that. Or, uh, I like to go and watch polo. So, they have these polo championships and things like that. And they'll say, this is when it is, if you'd like to go. And then you actually show up, because this is something that I would like to show up to.
Sure.
If it's something that you would, if you don't like, naturally don't go to it. If it's going to be something that you say, oh, I hate polo, then yeah, don't go. But if it's fascinating, like I find it to be fascinating, I actually show up. And when you show up to these events, because once you get on these lists, you'll eventually get invites. First, you'll just get a bunch of ads, then you'll get invites.
Yep.
Then, you'll that's how you get access to a lot of these things. And once you start going to them, then you get put on another list of people that show up at events, and then you get more invites. And that pretty much starts that process of getting invited to exclusive things, high-end things. And these, it's cool just to see some of the the stuff that's going on, but then you're also meeting the type of people that, some people say, well, I don't want to be around a bunch of snobs, but they're not, sure, there might
Sure.
be some snobs there, but then there's just regular folks there too. Just because people go to high-end things doesn't make them snobby. And if you're in real estate, there could be a lot of more high ticket transactions coming your way, because all of these people still, have houses to buy, houses to sell, or might have information on uh, some kind of project, or they might be in the industry too and might be looking to partner, like
Yep.
you mentioned. And so, yeah, the getting on the lists is, I think it's very, very helpful in just getting access to more events. Have you had any experiences? I know that you've done some of the things that I teach, and uh, do you have anything to share about the
Yeah. So there was a lot there. So there was a lot there. I guess I'll start with just like the events. So the events portion of it, there are, so no matter what field you're in or whatever field you're interested in, there's many different events that you can go to, that you can find via, just simple Google searches. You go on, you say real estate event in my area, or you go to meetup.com. And I've used that actually quite recently to go up to meetup.com and just see what's going on in the area. And kind of like what you're saying, like what kind of people go to a polo match? That would be interesting to me. What kind of people fly private jets, for example? I know that was one that you've taken part of. And in my area where I'm at, I'm now in South Florida, Southwest Florida, and there's a lot of affluent individuals here. So there's a lot of events that take place for various things: wine tastings, cigar smokings, many different events that are happening, Cuban food festivals, taco fests, so stuff like that on these. But the direct way to find events is specifically through, like, I go on for real estate, I go on Real Estate Investor Association in my area. And generally, each area, if you're in a larger metropolitan area, have their own RIAs. That's what they're called. And those events are direct events where people in the field, from wholesalers to realtors to property managers to realtors to all sorts of people who are in that field, come together and they talk about what's going on in the market and within the network. And what they do is they share similar stories, they meet up with each other, they break bread, and they're able to talk about things, and they're able to meet people. And when you're able to meet people, they also have sub events that happen from these things. And those are some of the greatest conversations that you really have. It's not from the main event, but it's from those little side conversations. When you're there, it's really easy to just be a number of all the other people who are there. Like, oh, you're another realtor A, B, C, D, E, and F. But what it is they have their own individual lists generally as well. And I'm sure we'll get into this in a little bit, but there's a concept called wholesaling, and we'll talk about it. But what it is they're basically people that go out and they try to find deals. They try to find people who are trying to get out of their house as soon as possible, meaning sell it or have some other type of exit strategy, and they want to offload it. So these wholesalers, what they do is they go and find these people who want to sell quickly, and they have a list of properties, and they go to these events, or they spam their email folders, and they say, hey guys, I have a house that it's after repair value, its ARV is going to be so and so much. Let's say the ARV is 200,000. I can buy the house for 100,000, and it will only cost me 50,000. It will only cost you 50,000 to invest in order to get this market ready for ARV. So they have their own lists as well. And I actually have my own email. It's it's send me your deals at gmail.com. So send me your deals with a Z at the end. And I use that to get on these lists for wholesalers. So in my area, or the areas that I'm interested in investing, I always give that email out. And then I can go in and look at that and see if I get weekly deals or daily deals on what's coming up. And that's one of the best ways to go about it. And that's a pretty simple way, but I wouldn't have found that deal, or I wouldn't have found that individual had I not gone and physically showed up, shook someone's hand, and looked them in the eye and had these conversations about this. So it's wildly important just to be able to show up and have the discussion with individuals, and put your hand out even in these times of corona or whatever you're going to do. um, but it's really important to go and do that, just because that's really where these deals are made. Is just showing up. So, and those are the direct ones. But there's also a lot of indirect events. You mentioned, for example, so I do have kids and I go to t-ball games quite often. um, 2 points here, but the first point is that wherever I go anywhere, I learned from you. I mean, I don't specifically start talking about what I do. That's not my thing. It's like, well, what do you do? That's not my first thing.
Right.
But inevitably it comes up in conversation. I'm sure we're going to be going through what we talk about. It's already here in our agenda.
Yeah.
But inevitably it comes up. It comes up on what brought you to the area, specifically where I'm at, where most people are transplants from a different area. I'm either an English speaking person in Europe, in Germany, like, what are you doing here? Or I'm down here in Southwest Florida, where it's nothing but transplants from somewhere else. So it comes up, and then you talk about, well, I'm doing this and this, and I buy houses, I buy land, I develop them. And then, oh, you're a contractor, oh, you're a realtor, or your mom's a realtor. Everybody down here is a realtor. So inevitably it comes up, and going to these events, these indirect events, is what I've kind of come to terms with calling them, have been even more successful. And because it's people that aren't going out trying to become something. It's somebody always knows somebody that's in real estate.
Right.
Oh, my neighbor is selling their house and it's really in a bad shape, or something like this. You should come over and look at it. Like, that's not a deal. That's one of these deals that realtors are yearning to get. They're sending you 15 pieces of mail every single week, saying, I'll buy your house, whatever. But it's the people that haven't made that decision yet to go out and list it with a realtor. So I found that also very successful in these indirect events in the real estate field as well. Just being known, remembering people's names, like Dale Carnegie says, just remember people's first name, and just when you see them again, oh, hey, how's it going, Nick? And talk to them, and then just be genuinely interested, asking them questions, also part of your tactic, and just ask genuine questions. Don't be salesy, and just talk to them. So as far as events goes, and how to get on these lists and how to show up, that's really been my way to do it. And you know what, if there's no real estate event in your area, don't mean to plug a different podcast here, but is Bigger Pockets, and Brandon Turner always says, create your own event. If you're interested in something and you want to learn how to do multifamily investing, go on meetup.com or go on Bigger Pockets and create your own event and have people basically come to you. I know you've done that with cheese and wine before.
Right.
Yeah. So as far as that goes, there's always people, especially now, people are so frustrated and they want to get out of their house. They want to meet up with people. So yeah, now is the time. Now is really the time. I mean, there's so many reasons why it's just a good time to get out and meet people. So every day is really.
Yes.